What's going on, everybody? I'm here with my boy Jimmy. Jimmy's actually the newest coach inside of the AMZ Masterclass mentorship. He's also an Amazon six-figure seller. And today I'm going to be asking Jimmy a few questions to see how he got started on his journey, his mindset, challenges that he faced. So let's get into it. All right, Jimmy, question number one. For those who don't know you, how much revenue have you generated on Amazon?
I am currently six figures. I am close to getting to seven figs. It will happen soon for sure.
And that's yearly, right?
Yep.
Nice. Profitable, of course.
Yep. Can't be running it all revenue.
Yeah, I think it's funny when people are like, revenue doesn't mean anything. It's like, I'm not going to operate a $1 million business that's just losing money every year.
Yeah, like a 1% profit or like barely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The revenue doesn't even matter at that point.
So, how long have you been selling on Amazon? When did you start?
I'd say it's 3 years now. 3 years. So 3 years ago, I'd
So, you
say
started in 2022?
2022. Um,
Nice.
and I've been running with it ever since. Yeah.
Now, when you first started, did you think that you would create a six-figure business?
Yes, I did actually. I was crazy. And like the thing is with me, I'm very relentless with everything that I do. Um,
Hmm.
I my mindset is very strong, I'd say, for most people my age at the time. You know, wanted different things than most of my friends, so I was obsessed. I think you have to be obsessed with whatever it is you do to be successful.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I didn't realize that I was going to create the empire that I did on Amazon, like multiple seven figures, but I
Hmm.
always knew that I was going to be successful. Like I didn't start this to fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean I didn't know like exactly like how far I was gonna take it, but I knew I was gonna you know, be successful and do pretty good at it. And
You got to have that mindset in order to get to the finish line.
yeah, for sure.
So, what was your life like before selling on Amazon? And then what made you take the leap to actually start selling?
My life before Amazon, I'd say 2 years before Amazon, I was still in e-commerce actually. I was really into paid advertising, so I would work a lot with e-commerce clothing brands to help scale their business through running, Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok ads.
Okay.
Because I had a buddy of mine who taught me how to do all that. So I ran with that for a while. I actually started my own clothing brand too. It did pretty good, but it was just hard for me to, come up with new designs all the time. It was just stressful. I dealt with a lot of things for that. So
Clothing sucks.
I put it on pause. It was I'm not a designer, like I didn't have a designated designer to come up with like new unique pieces every drop. So
Mhm.
it's on pause, and that's when I found Amazon.
What made you actually start Amazon and get started there? Like, did somebody tell you about it? Did you watch a video?
Um, it was kind of like all those things. So I mean, I was in e-commerce, so then, Amazon is still in e-commerce. So I was just like, it's not, I feel like that's not a crazy jump. I feel like I could get it down pretty quick. I actually saw videos like yours, Luke, Kevin Pax, and I had a friend of mine that was doing it too, and he kind of showed me some of the ropes, and I just, took it, ran with it, and yeah, now I'm here.
Nice. That's awesome. Now, did the first product that you launched on Amazon succeed right away, or did you face some setbacks?
It did succeed right away. It actually popped off like crazy. I ended up getting the Amazon Choice badge, and I remember I was trying to just slow down the sales by like upping the price and all that, but it wouldn't stop. It was just selling like hotcakes, and then ended up running out of stock. Um, and then I improved the product, and the mistake that I made was I didn't get inspection for it, so I did end up getting the frequently returned badge on it, and it was very hard to kind of get rid of that. So it did good and bad at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I've told the story on my YouTube before, but like I don't have one of those stories where I've had failed products before, but my very first product, it wasn't like I had to fail two times and then finally I found one that was successful. Like within a month of me starting on Amazon, which was January 2019, I had done 10K in top line revenue profitably. I got a number one bestseller badge on my very first product. And I remember telling my cousin, like, if I can just sell out of this inventory, which was 300 units in 6 months, which is less than 2 units a day,
Yeah.
um, I'd be happy. He's like, you're selling yourself short. I sold out of my very first test run order my very first month, but luckily my manufacturer was in California for that product, so the turnaround was really quick.
Oh, damn. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a pretty good success story, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
like
sure.
new trader, I think that'd be a crazy one like for the plot.
Yeah, for
Whoever
sure.
that is.
So, what was the biggest challenge that you faced getting your product live? So, not necessarily while your product was live, but when you were trying to get it developed and started.
For the first product ever,
Yeah.
I think I think it was testing the product and like kind of learning how to like negotiate with just the platform of Alibaba and just kind of like all the steps and processes with Amazon. I
Hmm.
think the business model is very front loaded, so getting accustomed to that, I think
Yeah.
was the hardest part. Just getting used to like talking and reaching out to so many different manufacturers and having to sample everything and having all that sent to my house and it was kind of difficult, I guess, like for someone new, but it wasn't too bad, I'd say.
Yeah. I faced similar like challenges. I didn't even know you had to run Amazon ads until a week after I went live. Remember my cousin was like, "How's your product doing?" I was like, It's good. I'm selling like 5 to 7 units every day." She's like, "How are your ads performing?" I was like, "Ads? What do you mean ads?" She's like, "You're not running ads right now?" I was like, "No, my product's just doing really good."
No,
Um,
damn, that's a good sign right there.
yeah, so getting accustomed to the systems, the processes. I remember
Yeah,
like, spending time before work and after work because I was working a 9 to 5 job with my cousins. Just learning how to like talk to manufacturers and then kind of getting that process rolling as well.
yeah. I think there's like
Hmm.
so many little steps with Amazon, like learning Amazon's TOS and you know what
Yeah.
what to avoid, and all those little things. So
And like you said, a lot of the work is front loaded. Like it's in the beginning to get started. And then once you kind of establish yourself and get things rolling, it's not that you don't work, it's not passive income, but the workload definitely comes down.
yeah, it's very minimal for sure. There's
Hmm.
no downtime in this business model as well, like
Yeah, definitely.
waiting for
Especially if you're getting products from overseas and then you're sitting there like waiting for your samples to arrive. Now, there's still things that you could try to do in between or when you're waiting for your order. So, yeah, a lot of downtime for sure.
yeah.
Now, how much capital did you start with for your very first product? Cost of goods, shipping, samples, like how much did you invest in the business?
I think all in it was around like 5K, 5K,
Nice.
6K around there. And then, obviously some ads too, but I think just to get started with everything, it was like around like 5K.
Were you profitable on your ads right away, though?
Um, so I think somewhere, and because I was still so new with it,
Hmm.
I was still trying to figure everything out. I think when I first started, I definitely had some campaigns and things that were working. But it took me a while to kind of like know the process and what to do, like harvesting
Yeah.
keywords and all that. I
I
didn't
think
know.
that 5K answer surprise is going to surprise some people. Now, if people are already in the Amazon space, they probably understand, but there's like this misconception online for people who don't know Amazon. I wouldn't say the people who are getting started or in the process, but where that you need 10 or 15 or 20K to start a business. Same thing with me. I started my very first product, 300 units for $4,900, and 1,000 of that went towards a lab test. So it was really 3,900 for the cost of goods and shipping.
Yeah. No, I think it just I feel like people say like, oh, like that's not real, like starting up a business
Hmm.
like that, but they don't realize that you can order, anywhere from 150 to 300 units, and it just depends on, I guess, the product selling price. If it's a higher ticket, then obviously it's going to cost more. But
Yeah. I've launched almost every product on Amazon for under 6K because I'm starting with that test run order. Like you're not going to go order 2,000 or even 1,000 units on something that you have no proof of concept for yet.
yeah, exactly. The whole main purpose of the test order is to get proof of concept to see how it performs in the market, and from
Hmm.
there move on it.
So along your entire journey, these last three years, what would you say the biggest mistake that you made was?
The biggest mistake. I think the biggest mistake I ever had was I got too crazy with launching products, and I think I was launching just I just kept launching one after another, like maybe a couple at a time too, like three, four, five at a time, and I didn't realize that it would tie up my cash flow like that, but at one point it did, like
Yeah.
especially like I mean, I think I was at least a year so in already doing that. But if anyone was starting off, if you're launching five products, let's say, I don't recommend that, even if you do have the capital, just because now you have to worry about scaling five. And you're still learning the system and everything, all the steps. So it's like if you're gonna fail on five, like it's a bigger hit.
Yeah, and it's a very cash flow intensive business as you start to scale. In the beginning, you can start with that like 3 to 6K, but
Yeah,
when you want to start going all in on a product, let's
yeah,
say three of those five hit and you're just getting started, it's going to be a lot of capital to start scaling because on your first order, it's okay, but as you start to scale, you don't want to run out of inventory.
yeah, and that was my mistake. I think I got too caught up with that and didn't account for the PPC,
Hmm.
which I knew better. I just was, being a little careless about it, and
Yeah.
found out real quick. I was like, yeah, I'm forking up a lot of money now.
Definitely. Now, was there ever a time in your journey when you felt like quitting?
Um, I wouldn't say quit. Like I never, I'm not a quitter.
Hmm.
Uh, I always do everything, I'm always all in with anything that I do. I never just have one foot in and like hesitate, and if it fails, I give up. I think even at the roughest time through the whole journey, yes, it sucked, but I always knew that it was gonna get better in the end. You know, like
Yeah. And
whatever
I,
thing I was dealing with.
I think that's an important mindset to have for anybody starting any business. Like, you should be all in. It shouldn't be like, you shouldn't put conditions on yourself. Like, if this goes wrong, then I'm done. Or if this goes wrong, I'm going to quit.
Yeah,
Because I've heard so many stories. Like your first product was successful, my first product was successful, but I've also heard so many stories of people who failed two or three products, but then that next product was the one that hit. And had they
yeah,
quit earlier, they would have never seen that success.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's very common now that a lot of the younger generation, they are always, it's the shiny objects syndrome.
Yeah.
They are always on to the next big thing, like, oh, drop shipping, and then they half-ass it, they fail, they give up, and then they're like, oh, Amazon FBA, and then it's like, oh, trading, and then they're just like all
Hmm.
over the place. So it's like they're limiting themselves from actually seeing the success and the potential that they could have. And I just kind of I use this analogy. It's like the burners on your stove. If you cut off all the other ones and just focus it on one, the flame is going to be stronger on that. So
Yeah.
that's what you think too.
Find one business, stick to it, go all in, and
Get
don't give
really, really
yourself.
good. Yeah, get really, really good. Fail at it multiple times, and that's when you'll see the success if you just never give up.
Burn the boats. Don't give yourself an option to go back.
Yep, life or death.
Mhm. So, looking back, is there anything that you would do differently if you started over today?
One would be not. going too crazy with launching, so many products at once. I think I'd try to focus, like whatever was doing good, really double down on those products and scale them up to its fullest potential before like going too crazy with launching.
Yeah.
Another would be finding either like a mentor, like a community that I could join where it could probably help me from avoiding certain mistakes. Um,
Yeah.
Finding a good one though,
Yeah,
like
because not all of them are great. They say
yeah,
a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
yeah, exactly. So
Hmm.
I wish I would have pulled the trigger on maybe your AMZ Masterclass back then when I could have, like right
Yeah, like when you were first getting started.
yeah, like first start, I think I should have invested some money into a solid mentorship to
But do
like
your research because they're not all good.
yeah, exactly, for sure.
Hmm.
The value in some are not the same as others.
Yeah, for sure. Not all information on the internet is created equal.
Yep, exactly.
So, from your last 3 years of experience, I know you've helped a lot of people on Amazon. You're, of course, the new coach inside of the AMZ Masterclass. What's one thing that new sellers overcomplicate nowadays?
I think it comes to their product selection. I think they overcomplicate that, and um, they overcomplicate, you know, how to add value to the product, But
Hmm.
really, I tell them, you have to listen to the customers, to the market, analyze the data, just to get a better understanding of what it is you're getting into. Because if not, you're essentially going in blind and creating something that's just not even gonna solve issues or you know a, a pain point for for the customers.
Yeah, product research, product differentiation, huge points. And if you get those two things right, it makes the rest of your journey so much easier.
Yeah, I think people for sure get very stuck on that or like overcomplicate things on that part. But
Hmm.
after that, I think you know they should be good with everything else.
Yeah. Now, kind of piggybacking off that, what's the worst advice that you see people giving about Amazon right now?
The worst advice is probably I've heard one specific guy on TikTok like live or something saying like, "Oh, you can get into this product and make this much without having to run any PPC."
Oh, don't
Uh,
get me started. I already know who you're talking about. We won't name drop, but
yeah, yeah, I think
yeah.
that's probably one of the worst ones, just because it sets such a different expectation of the business that we do. Uh,
Hmm.
as anyone who's in the space, you guys all know that you have to run PPC in order to get organic rank. And then once you do rank organically, then you can scale back on the ads. But there's
Yeah.
no product that you can just right off the bat go in, run no PPC, and make a certain amount.
I think he claimed to make $2 million with not running a single ads doing Amazon private label.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah. All right. Well, we won't talk too much more about that one. Um, so how did you stay consistent in the journey during the hard times?
Uh, so my journey is honestly kind of interesting. I I distanced myself from a lot of friends of mine who went out all the time, clubbing, drinking, partying, all that. I had to distance myself first from that because I got, I tried to juggle that lifestyle with, growing my business at the same time. And yes, I was young. I was just, trying to have fun. But at one point, it all clicked. I was like, I can't do this. If I want to have a successful business, I can't juggle both lives. So
Yeah.
I
I think
distanced myself from all them. I went off social media. I to this day it's still deactivated my personal account. Went ghost and I locked myself in the room and just obsessed. and wanted to learn and be the best every single day.
I think for the new you to become, the old you has to die.
I
Not literally, but
Yeah,
figuratively, of course.
yeah,
Um, I think anybody, because I put out a lot of content and stuff now, and I think if anybody saw who I was pre-selling on Amazon, it's the person was unrecognizable. And so like I think that you and I have a very similar story to where like yeah, I was going out, I was partying, I was drinking, I was smoking, doing all the things that you shouldn't do. And
yeah,
then I realized like if I want to make this successful, like I respectfully, I don't want to be like everybody else. I
yeah.
want to carve my own path and I want to find that success because I always knew that I'd be successful even before I knew about it. I just didn't know how. And then I kind of clicked when I did find Amazon. I was like, this is my how. This is how I'm going to make it work. And I have
Mhm.
to flip the script on everything.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
it was definitely hard. I think my journey in Amazon was very lonely at first. N- like no one in the area knew what Amazon FBA was. No one else was doing it. So it was very hard to have friends and talk to them and just have someone to go along the journey with and experience that with. But
I was really blessed because I had my cousins who were my mentors. And that's why like having a good community or a good mentor can really help you out a lot. Because if I didn't have them, I would have been alone.
yeah,
People in my old circle were like, what is this guy even talking about?
yeah,
Like I
no,
remember I had I went to like a little like kickback. It wasn't a party or anything, but this is after I started my business, just to hang out with some friends and I'm excited. I'm telling everybody like my brand's gonna be the next big thing. This is when I just launched and like people literally laughed at me. And I was like, all right, for sure. Like I see where your thought process is. And then I was posting a lot on my own personal social media when I started that first successful brand. And so people saw it. It was almost like a little wildfire in the community. And they see me again and they come up, they're like, Luke, we always knew that you would do it. It's like, man, God's plan, but I did this on my own, man. Like nobody was betting on me except for like my mom, my
yeah.
best friend, and my cousins who were my mentors.
No, I feel the same way. I had a lot of friends. I feel like, especially out in California, a lot of people just kind of say nice things to your face, but like truly they don't want to see you do better than them. And
Hmm.
I had very little people believe in me when I
Yeah.
started. Even my family, to be honest, like some of them just doubted me and didn't believe me, and it was hard. That was honestly one of the hardest things to deal with is not having the support of your friends and family and on it all
Well,
alone.
yeah, we won't spend too much more time on this question, but I had family who same thing, they doubted me. Now they're out here like watching my content. Luke, put me on. How do I do this? You know?
Me, respectfully, I could never help after all that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like it's like I love you, but at a distance. Like
Yeah. So just a couple more questions. Um, how has Amazon changed your life personally?
I think it's allowed me to one quit all other jobs and not have to work for anyone. I was just never one to work for another person. I hated it. I always knew that I wanted to do my own thing, be my own boss, work on my own time. So it's definitely allowed me to, enjoy my own time, work on my own time, and just being able to support myself now, like honestly, just do anything it is that I want to do, financially, being able to,
Hmm.
give back to my mom is the biggest thing. I'm still striving for more, because
Yeah.
my mom is like my rock. She deserves everything in this world. I wouldn't be where I am today without the support of her. So everything I do is she's like one of my biggest whys. So
Yeah, I literally feel the same way. So many similarities in both of
yeah,
our stories for sure. But yeah, the beauty is like the financial freedom, the time freedom,
yep,
location freedom, and then being able to like give back to those who always had your back, you know?
yeah.
Um, so that's huge. So yeah, I respect that very much so, hearing that from you. And that's the way to do it.
Yep.
So, final question for everybody here. What's your advice for somebody who's watching this who's still on the fence about starting?
I'd say if you have already invested so much time, like watching so many different videos about Amazon, like you're interested already, you know? So I think you should just pull the trigger, get started because you wouldn't be watching a bunch of videos about it if you didn't care that much about it. So I'd say just take that risk, start, you know, obviously do it the right way, find the right people, have the right guidance, and to be honest, I think you won't regret it. If you truly stick to 100%, you can make a huge impact on your life by
Yeah.
by
And knowledge is important. Learning the game is important, but knowledge without action is useless,
yeah,
right? You can watch all the videos on how to sell on Amazon and do absolutely nothing about it, and you might as well have not watched any of those videos on how to sell on Amazon. Now, sometimes it's timing, so it's like just the right time, but I also don't fully buy into that because there's never the perfect time to go start something. And you don't need to learn every single step in order to, have it figured out. You just need to take action on step one.
yeah. I think get out of the analysis paralysis. You know, stop worrying about, you know, things that are 10 steps ahead. Focus on
Hmm.
what you can control and what you can do now and start. That's the biggest thing. Once you start, you're already ahead of so many people by far.
Yeah,
Start.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. And Jimmy, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for
Everybody,
having me,
this
bro.
was our interview with an Amazon six-figure seller. And like I mentioned, Jimmy is the newest coach inside of the AMZ Masterclass mentorship. If you want all of the strategies, criteria that I've used to start, launch, and scale my Amazon business, all of the resources that I've created for the students, direct access to me, our freight forwarder, inspection service, product selection, and so much more, and even weekly group coaching calls, which now we have added a new coach to be doing more coaching calls every single week. My boy Jimmy here. Be
Sure.
sure to check out the AMZ Masterclass in the description of this video. Make sure to drop a like, drop a comment if you want to see Jimmy in some more videos. And as always, I hope everyone has a blessed day.